Well, Crossroads, we are approaching the end of 2025, which is mind-blowing. And there's a natural tendency at the end of the year to reflect. At least that's true for me, and maybe that's true for you too, where you just kind of can't help but take inventory of the year, all its highs and lows. And sometimes we say, it was a good year. I'm ready for this year to be over and see what the next year has for me. And every year holds beauty and pain. And yet I'm comforted and encouraged by some of the specific stories that have come through our church. Really, what God has been doing, the activity of God through our church over the last year. And specific names and stories come to mind. And so I think of people like my friend Jordan, he's my barber. If you ever wondered why my haircuts always look so great, I've got a good barber, and that matters to me. So, but really, it's an excuse to hang out with him. And through the years, we've just become close friends. And I wasn't trying to get anything out of his life. I just genuinely love and admire and enjoy my time with Jordan. And it was this year that he was baptized at our summer baptism. And man, my heart just has been filled with joy since that day, before that day when he made the decision. And so I'm still celebrating alongside him and what God's been doing in his life. It's just encouraging to me. And when you see somebody else who you love taking steps to follow Jesus, doesn't that just encourage and inspire you to do the same? And so I'm a pastor, but here's Jordan taking steps, inspiring the pastor to take steps, to stay on fire, to keep aiming at Jesus and see what else he has in store. And another couple stories that come to mind are just that when God moved Eldersburg into the Princess Shopping Center, right at the intersection of 26 and 32, we didn't know what he was up to. It was a struggle trying to find a space for our church for years down in the southern end of the county. And so there were a lot of things that said, well, we'll make it work, and we're not sure exactly how this is going to play out. And yet through the years, I've begun to see maybe just a glimpse of what God was up to, right? And sure enough, God would have a whole church move to a town for one person. I'm convinced that that's exactly the heart of our Father, that he'd leave 99 for one. And so we have some one stories that come out of the Eldersburg building because we've got baked in neighbors. We've got people to the left and right of us, shopping centers, and we've got neighbors that live upstairs. And through the years, it's dawned on me just this year, but we have a couple of the business owners that have been coming consistently to our church, and we have some of the upstairs neighbors that have been coming consistently to our church. And as far as I'm concerned, if we're in that space just for them and just for this little season and time, well, then that is more than enough. And it makes my heart so happy that God would put us in a place for just a few people to come and to meet him and to know of his love for them. And so in many ways, I want to give all glory to God, but there's some credit for those who are bought in, and I just want to say thank you to those who've served, who've given, who've laid down their lives, who every week show up for the band, for tech, for kids ministry, for family ministry, going and serving in the community at our different partner places. I just know we don't do this thing called church alone. And even those who've given financially, it all comes together in this mysterious culmination of God's activity. And we can all defer glory to God. But man, oh man, I'd be remiss if I didn't take the chance to say thank you. Behind these names and these stories is a whole lot of people who are dedicated to God and just as concerned with one more person coming to the kingdom. And so I am encouraged as we close out this year. I'm excited as we approach a new year. I'm energized to see what God might continue to do in the new year through you, through me, through our church together. So with that, I love y'all, and let's bring in the new year.
Here we are, everyone, and we are about to start a brand new year. And as we're moving into 2026, a brand new year, I think about all the new life that happened at our church across all of our campuses this past year, 2025. It's been an incredible year, and I love that Jono started with Jordan because Jordan's a friend of mine too. I haven't gotten a haircut quite as recently as Jono has, but Jordan's incredible, and the chance for Jono and I to baptize him together and being friends with Jordan and then watching God work in his life, that's incredible. And so many of those baptisms over the last year have just been highlight moments. I mean, we could go on and on of the countless people that were baptized. Every story matters to God. Every name has a story, and every story matters to God. But I want to talk about Leah Walker for just a second here, who I had a chance to baptize her. And about a year ago, I was sitting in the Walkers' living room, and they were just sharing with me how they had been hurt by church in the past. And they said, it's a really big deal for us to take a step into a church, and the trust and unsure what this means. And there's all kinds of emotions that come with it. And then to see Leah get to take that huge step and get baptized, and then see the Walkers sitting up front at 9:30, Leah stepping in to serve, Luke stepping in to serve in middle school ministry. It's been incredible to see God work in that family, and a huge encouragement. I also think about Topher, who was baptized this past year as well. An incredible story of grace. A year ago, Topher was struggling with addiction, and here he is now. He's helping freeing other people from addiction. Topher's part of our Recovery Inc. group that meets on Tuesdays, but that wasn't just enough for him to lead there. He wanted to take that message to other places, and he's now doing a Recovery Inc. group in Shoemaker Residential Recovery Center, which is a state-funded recovery center right here in Maryland. And every week we get to share the gospel with a group of people. And I had a chance to go a couple weeks ago and meet some of the people there and teach. And I love the fact as I walked in, they said, "Oh my gosh, you're the guy that we've seen when we were in jail for the last 2 years," because many of them had been in jail. They just out of jail. We had been in jail for 2 years, and we've been listening to Crossroads online on the iPads. We get the church service on the iPad in the jail. And so our message is going out to thousands of inmates across the state and even into other states. And that's an incredible testament to what God's doing through our online ministry as well. And then lastly, I can't miss the fact that my wife got baptized this past year. My wife, Laura, surprised me in the summer baptism, and she was one of the last ones to get baptized. No one told me she was going to be baptized, and all of a sudden she walks out to be baptized, and I broke down in tears because God's working in my family's church as well as in my own life. And so it's what an incredible year to think about what God's done in our church and our life. And as we move into a new year, I know God is going to do brand new things.
Hey, Crossroads family. As I'm reflecting over this past year of 2025, there are so many things to celebrate, and there are so many wonderful things that God is doing in Hampstead that I don't even know how I can mention them all. But, just for a couple highlights, we did have over 8 baptisms last year. We launched a bunch of new groups, and worship has been off the hook, and there's just a lot of good energy happening, and you can see God really moving. But one of the things that kind of stands out to me is when we started partnering with our community, the difference that really made in relationships, and our whole goal is to be an influence in our community. So this was a great avenue that got that started, and we started this community garden, and there are 60 families that don't even come to our church that are gardening on our property, and it's just a great opportunity for us to build relationships with people who don't even come in. And one of the things that it had launched into was this pretty unique program that they have in Hampstead. It's called a Young Entrepreneur Farmers Market kind of thing. And what we did is we partnered with them. We allowed all these kids, there was like over 20-some kids, setting up tables in our lobby where they were allowed to sell their goods. Some of them did crafts, some of them did baking things. But ultimately, there was a lot of folks just coming through our church that didn't normally come through the doors. And that really gets me excited, because at the end of the day, what we really want to be is an influence in our community. And I am just so grateful for all the support and everything that goes into these things and goes into our services. I love the fact that we are one church meeting in multiple locations and that we were able to do these things. We are just grateful for all the support and everything that everyone gives in your generosity. So I just pray that we have a happy new year.